From having his reputation on the line to what his future will look like after the fight, this is why Alexander Volkanovski can't afford to lose. UFC 298.
People got to see me at my most vulnerable, but you'll see me as the dominant champ that I've been February 17th or 18th, whenever it is, and I'll show you and I'll remind everybody.
At UFC 298, the spotlight is not just on a championship belt, but on a clash of styles, strengths, and reputations that defines the featherweight division. In one corner, we have the reigning featherweight champion, Alex Volkanovski, a fighter who is known for his striking prowess and unmatched stamina. His record in the featherweight division is not just a testament to his skill, but a chronicle of a fighter who improves as the rounds progress, which, as we all know, is a very rare and intimidating quality. Facing him is Ilia Topuria, who began his career dominating submissions but has since evolved into a striking force to be reckoned with. And his recent performance against Josh Emmett proved that he is more than capable of going toe-to-toe with the best in the division. At 35, Volkanovski is not just any champion. He's one of the best featherweights the UFC has ever seen. Ranked as the number 3 pound-for-pound fighter globally, his resume speaks for itself. With wins over legends like Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, and Jose Aldo, Volk is probably one of the most dominant fighters the division's ever seen. But here's the catch. He's the oldest champion under 170 pounds in UFC history. And coming off his first knockout loss against Makhachev, there are whispers about whether his reign is nearing its end. But here's the thing about Volkanovski. He thrives on doubt. Hearing people question his staying power, that's just fuel for his fire. Every time he steps into the octagon, it's not just about defending a title. It's about proving he's still the best, age be damned. That knockout loss? A minor setback in his eyes, a chance to come back stronger. And at UFC 298, he's not just fighting Topuria. He's fighting to silence the doubters, to show the world that age is just a number and he's far from done. As for Topuria, he's the new kid on the block. But don't let that fool you. He started as a submission specialist, but over time, he's evolved into a full package fighter and has shown that he can strike with the best. And UFC 298 is his biggest shot yet. Beating Volkanovski would catapult him to the top of the division. It's a chance to turn potential into reality, to show that he's not just a rising star, but a supernova ready to explode onto the scene. With that in mind, UFC 298 is a crossroads for two warriors with everything to gain and just as much to lose. It's a battle where the stakes are sky high for both fighters, but for very different reasons. It's not just about who's better on the night, it's about what this win means for each of them in the grand scheme of things. For Volkanovski, it's about legacy. It's about showing the world that he's still the king of the featherweight division. Every punch, every kick, every takedown, they're all part of his mission to prove he's still at the top of his game. For Topuria, it's about a rival. It's his moment to step out of the shadow of being a prospect and into the spotlight as a champion. Since claiming the UFC featherweight title in 2019, Volk's been an absolute force in the division. He has 5 successful title defenses, which shows consistency, skill, and the ability to adapt to different challengers. Volkanovski ventured into the lightweight division, aiming to be a 2-division champion. That's a bold move, a sign of a fighter who's not just content with dominating one division. But at UFC 284 and in the rematch, Islam Makhachev proved too much. The loss at UFC 294 was especially tough, the first time Volkanovski has been stopped since 2013. This fight against Topuria is his chance to bounce back, and not just in an ordinary way. He's facing a young, unbeaten fighter who's looked nothing short of dangerous in the UFC. We've had some greats in the division, no doubt. Fighters like Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor have left their mark. But here's where Volkanovski stands out. His ability to remain at the top, consistently beating top-tier fighters, and now, potentially bouncing back from a loss in a higher weight class. If Volkanovski stops Topuria, he's not just defending his belt, he's adding a new chapter to his legacy. He's showing that he can overcome adversity and that he can adapt and conquer. In the world of combat sports, that kind of resilience and comeback story, that's what separates the greats from the losers. This time around, things are a bit different for Volkanovski. Usually, he's the clear favorite, but heading into the Honda Center in Anaheim, the odds are a bit tighter. He's at 150, which is pretty close, especially when you consider that many see him as the best featherweight in MMA history. But then again, he's up against Ilia Topuria, a rising star who's been tearing through the division. With 12 stoppages in 14 fights, Topuria's a force to be reckoned with. Do you remember his fight with Josh Emmett? He dominated, leading to an unbelievable 50-42 score. That's how he punched his ticket to this title shot. There's also a bit of worry about Volkanovski, especially since he's coming back so soon after that head kick loss to Makhachev in October. People are wondering if it's too quick a return. Overall, UFC 298 is shaping up to be a blast, especially after UFC 297 didn't quite hit the mark. The main card's stacked. We've got former champs like Robert Whittaker and Henry Cejudo stepping into the octagon. Whittaker's facing Paulo Costa, and Cejudo's taking on Merab Dvalishvili. Then there's Ian Machado Gary squaring off against Jeff Neal, which should be an explosive match. And let's not forget Anthony Hernandez, with his 81% finish rate. He's rumored to be up against the hard-hitting Roman Kapilov, but obviously everyone will have their eyes on Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. So, let's break down how this match might go down. Starting with Volkanovski, he's a powerhouse in the featherweight division. His background in Greco-Roman wrestling and proficiency in striking, especially from boxing and Muay Thai, make him a versatile threat. In the clinch, he's dominant, using his strength and technique to control opponents, often setting up punishing strikes and takedowns. His ability to transition from striking to takedowns is a key aspect of his style. For Volkanovski to win, he needs to leverage his wrestling skills to dictate the fight's pace and location. His clinch work will be crucial. He can use his strength to control Topuria and set up takedowns. On the ground, his top control and ground and pound could be significant, given his powerful, accurate striking. Standing up, he should rely on his striking precision and cardio, maintaining a high-energy pace throughout the fight. His agility and explosiveness will help him in striking exchanges and in avoiding Topuria's powerful shots. Now, turning to Topuria, he's a formidable opponent with a background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Greco-Roman wrestling. His ground game is bold, and he's known for his striking lately, particularly his strong jab and powerful right hand. His movement and footwork are excellent, and he uses his wrestling skills not just for takedowns, but to control where the fight happens. Topuria's top game on the ground combines his wrestling pedigree with effective jiu-jitsu. To win, he needs to focus on his striking to counter Volkanovski's wrestling. He should use his jab and powerful punches to keep Volkanovski at bay and his kicks to maintain distance. If the fight goes to the ground, his jiu-jitsu skills could give him an advantage, especially if he can secure a dominant position. Topuria needs to be mindful of Volkanovski's takedown attempts and use his takedown defense effectively. His ability to change levels with his striking and transition smoothly between striking and grappling could be the key to catching Volkanovski off guard. Topuria is heading into this fight with a ton of confidence. He's looking to take the fight straight to Volkanovski, planning to walk him down and keep the pressure on. He's not seeing a lot of weaknesses in Volkanovski's game, but he thinks leg kicks might be the champ's main strategy. Topuria's got a point about cardio being different under pressure. He believes that, while Volkanovski's known for his stamina, it's a different ballgame when you're the one being pushed back. He's feeling pretty good about his chances in this fight, calling it a chance to create a masterpiece. According to Ilia, he's planning to strike hard while avoiding any hits himself, showcasing what he calls authentic mixed martial arts. But it's not just a win he's predicting, he's expecting to dominate. Topuria is so sure of himself that he's saying this fight could be one of the easiest of his career, and he's not doubting that he'll finish Volkanovski. That's a big call, especially against a fighter of Volkanovski's caliber. But hey, confidence is key, right? Let's see if he can back it up in the octagon. Because if Topuria wins, it'll catapult him to featherweight elite status, opening doors for marquee fights and title defenses. A loss, while a setback, still keeps him as a top contender, likely leading to fights against other high-ranked featherweights to rebuild his path to the title. If Volkanovski wins, he further cements his legacy as a featherweight great, possibly eyeing more high-profile title defenses or even a return to lightweight for redemption. A loss could lead to a reassessment of strategy, potentially setting up rematches with top contenders or a gradual rebuild back to title contention. So from what his future will look like after the fight, to having his reputation on the line, this was why Alexander Volkanovski can't afford to lose UFC 298.